Welcome back to Stadia Source, your number one source for Stadia news and reviews. Guys, this is the Roundtable Podcast, and we are here tonight back with another great show. I am your favorite gaming cowboy, the all-purpose champ, because I'm a cowboy. Oh, man. And, guys, you know how long I've been waiting to say that I finally got rid of Avery? Everybody clap right now, because we finally... Okay, fine. We didn't get rid of them. Avery will be on momentarily, guys. But with that said, guys, our guest today is none other than Mr. Michael Perrigo from Chrome Unboxed. You may have seen him around from his great, fantastic work from everything from Stadia to everything Google. So let's just go through a little bit first, guys. Before we get started, you may not know this, even though Avery says it every week, but our podcast is a podcast. That's right, guys. You could hear it on Podbeans. You could hear it on Spotify. Anything where you can hear podcasts, you could actually get our podcast. And with that said, guys, make sure you chat in the comments below. As you know, we love to talk to you guys. We love to, well, I personally love to talk trash to some people like Ugly Ray, this game is Cyborg. But guys, we love to chat with you. Make sure you use the super chat feature as well, because you'll be guaranteed that we'll get to your comments. And then the last thing I got to say, guys, is we also have a members. That's right, guys. You could be a member of Stadia Source, and we got a lot of great things for members, from special videos and a bunch of different things. So make sure you do that as well. So I'll turn this thing over to Dan, the man. So,
hello. So yeah, it's going to be a great show today. Happy to have Michael here as well to talk all things Chrome Unboxed. I was going to say Stadia Unboxed then. So Michael, if you'd like to obviously go ahead and introduce yourself to our viewers and just talk a little bit about yourself and your project.
Sure. Hey everybody, Mike here. I'm the staff writer for one of the staff writers for Chrome Unboxed. I joined not too long ago. We cover everything Chrome related. So news, reviews, unboxings, deals, you name it. All about Chromebooks and Google software as a service, you name it. It's all there. So you can check it out at chromeunboxed.com. And today we have a special offer for you. We're giving away a Premier Edition bundle.
Yes.
nice.
Didn't even tell us, did you, that one?
I'm excited for this.
We noticed when you tweeted it out, it was like, oh, okay, that's a good
But he's not here to defend himself, so.
okay.
So visit chromeunboxed.com/Stadia Source, and yeah, and you can enter the win. They got 15 days, and we'll take it from there.
Nice.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. So how long have you been with Chrome Unboxed?
Oh, geez. Let's see. Not quite 6 months yet, I don't think. I'm not sure. But before that, I was running Gaming Unboxed, which we melded into Chrome Unboxed only recently, a few months ago. And there, that's when I started covering all of the Stadia news and, of course, Google Play Games, things like that, GeForce Now. But Stadia, most of our news for gaming ends up being Stadia related because I've taken to the platform so heavily, and I just love it. And I think it's revolutionary, especially when you think about Chromebooks as a device that you can play it on. It's just, it feels right at home.
Yeah, I've seen that Founders controller behind you there. So
is it behind me? Oh, that is the founders one. Yeah,
Just in the background there.
totally not strategically placed for.
Totally not.
So would you say that your experience with Stadia has been an overall positive one then?
Yes. So, a fun fact: before I started with Chrome Unboxed, I actually worked in a big box store. I'm not sure if I can name the big box store as a Google expert. I worked on the Chromebook team, and what's interesting was before Stadia came out, we had early access to it, of course, and we were playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey on the Wi-Fi there, and just blowing people's minds as we were selling them Chromebooks. We were showing them what's possible, and most people who come to the table, they're like, "Chromebooks aren't gaming machines. What are you talking about?" And then we're like, "Watch this." I don't even know the connection speed of the store, but it is trash. And we were playing in 1080p almost, so it was awesome.
And what's your favorite game to play on Stadia?
Oh, geez. So I've been playing a lot of Ari right now, but I always go back to Final Fantasy 15. I'm a Square Enix nut, and it's kind of hard to play, but it's just a little grind. But I keep going back.
Awesome. So I'm just going to say some hellos to people in the chat. So hello, Kumnar. Avery will be here with us shortly. He's stuck in a call at the moment. So we've got your arch nemesis there, Anthony. The gaming
my goodness. No, I'm done.
Just leaves the podcast.
All right, fine. I'm coming back.
How you doing, Consigno? Spectre. We've got Shadow Grim, who has also just joined our social media team as well. So if you haven't already said hi to him, give him a hello. We've got Scarlett there as well. And Avery's in the chat. So he's here in spirit, just not in person at the moment.
Hi, Avery.
I thought we got rid of him, man.
No, you didn't quite get rid of him. He's still clinging on, so he'll be here soon, darn you, Zoo. Yeah, so I know Avery's quite an avid Final Fantasy fan, so he'll more than likely want to talk about that with you later on. But before we do that, what we like to do is we just go around the panel and see what games we've been playing over the past week, Stadia or otherwise. So why don't we start with our guest today, Michael? What have you been playing in the past week?
Star Wars.
Nice.
A lot of Star Wars. Also, I'm kind of addicted to Far Cry 5, so even though I've already beaten it and played countless hours of multiplayer, I went and got it on Stadia so I can play it some more. Super Hot and Little Nightmares. So those are my top picks right now. Some are
just purely Stadia.
Yeah, mostly. I have picked up a Switch Lite too, so I've been playing with that as well. So.
Awesome. So, Scarlett, what have you been playing?
Well, first off, hello, you barrel of monkeys, which, yes, is actually the name for a group of monkeys, believe it or not, is a barrel. Yeah, it's a barrel. That's where, anyway, I don't know which came first, the game or the monkeys, but...
The more you know.
The more you know. So I've actually not had a lot of time to, unfortunately, play anything because I've been far into production these last few days of producing my displays. But I have managed to at least every day play a couple minutes of Mario 35, which is so much fun because it's so chaotic. They have taken the level that everybody has played at least 1 million times and flipped it on its head because suddenly you have more Goombas than you know what to do with. And it's amazing. I love it. So I've been playing that because I have no other life right now. I'm a busy mom, okay?
So we'll kind of go in counterclockwise. So I have been playing Destiny 2 to everybody's surprise here. A new Hawkmoon challenge came out yesterday, and I didn't have the Hawkmoon, so my dad was... I play often with my father, as you know, on Destiny 2, and he was like, you need to get the Hawkmoon. So that's what I've been trying to do all week. Haven't really touched any other game than that. Although given that one of the topics we're going to be talking about later is the free play weekend that we've got currently going on. So I may jump into those two games as well at some point and see what they're about. So Dom, what about you? Let me guess.
Dead by Daylight, of course. I streamed that on Tuesday. I have no idea what day it is anymore. Everything's just blended into one. Of course, Dead by Daylight. I picked up Battlefront 2 Star Wars because it's free on the App Store for this week. And I've really been enjoying that.
Good.
I kind of hope it comes to Stadia. I don't think it will, but it's a great game. Like if you just want to be like a normal stormtrooper or something in Star Wars, like it's just cool. And then it's really well done. Who else been playing? I completed Fallen Order. Finally, after throwing my controller against my bed several times because that game is infuriating.
It can be.
But not only that, but like I had a couple bugs where I was doing like a boss fight, and then I'd complete the boss fight, and then my game would just crash. I'd have a glitch, and then it wouldn't save, and I just had to do the whole boss fight again. I was just like, it was testing me. I think that's about it. And I tried out Ghost Recon Breakpoint because it's free.
Right.
I have a couple of hours today. Seems all right. Not sure I'll buy it afterwards, but I've got to get into it first to see if it's worth the purchase.
I actually think someone in my family shares got it as well. So even if it wasn't on free weekends, I could give it a try. Because
I bought Wildlands a few weeks ago, and it's very similar. It's just like more in the future, right? So
only it's not drab.
I liked Wildlands because I had it on PlayStation 4 and I played it with friends on there, and then I played with some other friends on Stadia. And I think it's more both of these games. I think will be more fun playing with friends. Mm-hmm. So I've convinced the buddy he's gonna play with me this weekend for Breakpoint, and we'll just give it a go. I mean, it's $7.79 or something on sale at the moment if you're a pro member. So if we have a good weekend and we enjoy it, then might buy it. Yeah.
And Anthony, what have you been playing?
All right, guys, I've been playing everything, right? So shout outs to Scarlet and shout outs to Blue Bob. Because of them, I'm addicted and hooked to Gods and Monsters. Yes, I'll use that name.
Yes.
And guys, I was even playing it on my lunch break in my car, streaming it to Stadia. Yes, Stadia is amazing. You can do that, guys. Make sure you can do that. I put a video on this very channel showing you guys how to do that. But yeah, I've even been playing a lot of Wildlands. I've been playing a lot of Breakpoint, and I've been asking a lot of people like, which one do you think is better? And I personally think Wildlands is better, only because if it has more of a Grand Theft Auto feeling, it feels like it's more open world or it's more to do when you're just running around doing nonsense. Breakpoint feels like you have to be on the main mission or you won't. Like you have to pretty much go on the main mission, whereas Wildlands, you could just run in the middle of the street, get out your car, jump in cars, driving down cliffs. Like it's just so much mayhem in Wildlands I feel like it's more fun game. Shout outs to the Stadia Bash community. I've been playing with these guys like crazy, and yeah, I've been playing Pac-Man. You know me, man. I'm into everything. So like because of Stadia, the fact that you could pop in and out of games and you don't have to worry about deleting games and reinstalling games. So I've got probably 100 games and I'm literally just, hey, let me play that today. Let me play that today. So, but the main game I've been playing has been Immortal Phoenix Rising, Gods and Monsters. So because of Scarlet.
As it should be.
Definitely.
I think they should have kept the name.
They really should have.
I agree.
See, I just like to use the name Orpheus just to wind people up.
That would have been better too.
Especially because we got a channel strike for uploading even a snippet of it when it leaked on Stadia, but such is life. So yeah, if we want to move on to the news roundup now, so we've got quite a few, more than last week, I think, news articles to talk about. It's been a slow January, put it that way. But obviously one of the biggest pieces of news this week was the release of Hitman 3. And along with it, the first proper instance of state share, not including Crater in that because it's kind of not state share. So yeah, has anybody had a chance to dive into Hitman 3 and or try state share? Because I know it's also on Hitman 1 and 2 as well, which are currently free on Pro. So nobody here has got any excuse not to try it unless you don't have Pro, which what are you doing on Stadia Source podcast if you don't have Chrome? Anybody had a chance?
I've not picked up Hitman 3. I think I'm going to wait a little bit. I've got too many games to play. And 50 quid on a game at the moment seems a bit much. I have tried State Share. I very, very briefly. I think it was Eddie put a link on Twitter of his Hitman 2 mission, and I just I literally pressed it, clicked it, and I was in. And I was like, wow, that's actually pretty cool. Yeah, that's my experience so far. I will get Hitman 3 eventually when the price drops a bit. It's just, it's January and it's been Christmas and there's birthdays coming up, and so yeah, that's it.
It's like, go ahead, Anthony.
Oh no, I was gonna say, it looks really good. I never been a big fan of the Hitman series, but they've always been like, you play one, I don't want to say you play one, you play them all, but in a good way. If you play one, you play them all. It's really cool. It's a really good stealth game. But I didn't get it, and I think there's so many people that's saying, dude, you gotta get Red Dead Redemption. How are you gonna be the cowboy and don't got that game? So I think I'll have to buy that first. If I'm gonna spend money, then I have to buy that first. But it does look pretty cool though. The stealth, when you watch any trailer, they hype it up and make him look super cool and smooth, and you could go in guns blazing, but you really want to, try to, do assassinations as calmly as possible. But no, to answer the question, I didn't try it. And I actually, I guess what I'll do is I'll also try Hitman 2 just to mess around with State Share. So I probably should have did that already, but I haven't.
From like the stuff that I've seen, there doesn't seem to be a big difference between Hitman 2 and 3. Mm-hmm. It's kind of just like better levels and stuff. Like the mechanics are still the same. The control, there's no like groundbreaking new stuff in the game. Mm-hmm. So if you like Hitman 1 and 2, chances are you're going to like 3. I'd reckon, like, I like them. I'm one of those people who starts off like, I'm going to be super stealthy, and then I make one mistake, the alarm's gone off, and I'm like, right, I have to kill everyone.
Kill everybody.
Because basically, my motto is, right, if I kill everyone, then no one can find that body because everyone's dead. So that's generally how it goes in my games.
And then someone comes in off a lunch break and they see all the bodies.
Yeah.
What?
Like we're playing Metal Gear or something back in the day.
That's what came to my mind when you said that. The little exclamation point come up over your head.
Call you.
Yeah.
So it's probably not worth asking this question then. If anybody's played State Share to the end to get to the leaderboard, if no one's
not yet.
Not really used it. So
to be fair, all the people I follow on Twitter, the only person I've seen share a State Share slice has been Eddie so far. So
yeah, I think Cloud Gamer 201 also shared one, but I don't know whether that was his or whether he just got a link. But that's,
send me some slices and I'll do them. There you go.
Yeah, there may be something coming up on Stadia Source soon that might cater for that need. So keep your eyes peeled.
Wink, wink.
So yeah, what do people think about the implementation of State Share in terms of Hitman? Obviously, for those who don't know, obviously when you jump into a State Share that's shared from Hitman, you go straight to the beginning of that level rather than from that point.
That, I think, to me, how I interpreted State Share when they first announced it, it was going to be like you hit the capture button and that's the point where you start from.
Yeah.
Because I think it was Jem who tweeted out basically saying, he wanted to do like aggro everyone in the level and then just put someone in an impossible position and then State Share from that position and just let people like join into this mayhem. But I think it's down to the devs though, right? Like it's how it's how the devs want to put it in. I obviously thought that's the best way for their game. Maybe we'll see different iterations in the future. Not sure.
And look who it is.
Oh wait,
There it is.
Someone who's underwater currently.
Hey everybody! Exciting news about State Share, you guys. Thanks for sorry about that. Zoom work fun time things are always a hoot. Sorry, Anthony, had to boot you off the top row there. I know.
So good, man.
I appreciate you pinch hitting on the never-ending intro.
It's like you're shuffling around the Brady Bunch. If I look up, I think I'll.
Yeah. I don't know. This could be one of those new videos where Avery might drop something and then you catch it. You know.
I'll drop the mic.
Do you have a pixel handy? Because I could just no.
Do you want to retrospectively go back and see what you've been playing, Avery?
Play
before
all
we
the
kind of
things.
continue the news?
Well, Michael, it's good to have you here, and we appreciate you. And glad you already told people glad you're here. For me, it's just been Assassin's Creed, continuing the Assassin's Creed shenanigans, the never-ending Assassin's Creed shenanigans. So I finally made it to Asgard. Ooh. For those of you who have played it and know what I'm talking about. So yeah, just Assassin's Creed, more and more and more. So,
And what are your opinions on Hitman 3/Stadia?
So when the first one came out on Pro, I played it, or the 1 and 2. I played it for 10 minutes, and then I'm just like hiding in a room waiting for something to happen. I'm like, oh, well, if I go outside right now, then everybody's, well, I can't do that. But okay, let me go around the corner, and no, that's not going to work. And so it was just that. And I was like, I don't have the patience for this. I get that the whole point of the game is like, okay, and you're going to wait for them to get it just this right thing so you can throw the bowling ball and knock off the glass that'll hit the butcher knife that'll trigger the chandelier that'll kill the cat, and the cat. I don't care about Rube Goldberg. The last time I played a Rube Goldberg game was The Incredible Machine on Windows 95. Okay, so it's fun. Like the whole thing seems super fun, but it is not in my wheelhouse of things I want to deal with.
I think I'm the same. I mean, I'm used to playing like fast-paced games like Call of Duty and Destiny, where you just go in and try and take as many names as you possibly can in the shortest amount of time. So kind of lying there on the floor waiting for 5 minutes for something to happen is like not my cup of tea. And I think that goes for like games in the past, such as Metal Gear Solid. I think the one that really broke it for me was Siphon Filter. Just, I don't know if any of you games
I used to love Siphon Filter.
On the PS1, it just there's a couple of stealth games where it was like I could not get through them. The Catacombs, just no.
That's what I like. But you get some like shooter games, right? And then it's like this mission, you're not allowed to kill anyone, and if you get detected, game over. And it's just like, what? Where's the fun in that? I've got this massive machine gun and I can't use it. Like,
you guys are not going to believe this, but I will be right back. So
There we go.
carry on. Keep calling.
I'd rather do that though than like go on and wait to poison someone's drink for 5 minutes and then fail.
yeah, I get that.
But anything ever.
But you know what though? Whoever's into stealth games, Hitman is like the stealth game of stealth games. You know, like
Whoa there, cowboy. You can't. You gotta be careful with that because people are gonna call you for Metal Gear in the
okay,
chat.
well. Okay, yeah, I guess Metal Gear you could hide in a cardboard box, right? And be stealthy. But and then I guess Assassin's Creed when it first came out, it was like really cool to be stealthy. You had the missions where you had to like not be seen at all, and now it's kind of like you're kind of just running out there killing people. But Hitman has always been that, you know, you want to shoot somebody from across, you know, you go plan everything out, shoot somebody from a building across to another building. But so I think if you're into stealth games, I mean, this would be your thing. Unfortunately, that's not me. I'm like Dan. Listen, I got mad when I was playing Destiny the other day, and somebody was like, "You was camping." I was like, "Why? Because I killed you when you wasn't looking." That's not camping. I'm running the whole time. So I don't even like. Yeah, I got running gun is my thing. But Hitman, I mean, it looks cool though, man. I mean, it looks cool, but
it's fun, like changing outfits and things like that, and then trying to logic your way through it. I definitely like that, and the fact that they have so many different ways that you can approach the level.
Right.
You can do this or that or what have you, and go through different people. And then when you trigger one person, it sets off a whole different chain of events that could cause you to handle it a different way. So I've had a lot of fun with it in that regard. But yeah, just hiding in someone's bathroom closet, a drink, that was really odd for me.
Because you spent some time with it. Let me ask you a question. So I would be okay if it's like you could do it your way, right? But let's say you're supposed to do it like all methodical and slow and no one sees you. But if you happen to, you know, like Dom kind of said, hey, if you kill everybody and nobody else sees, right? But I think I think if you get seen, then the missions typically end in that game, right? So you can't do it. Is that how it goes?
So typically the way it works with Hitman is they give you several different ways to approach it stealthily, and you can get very creative with it.
Yeah.
But if you shoot somebody and then you run away, I can guarantee you that 9 times out of 10 you're going to be overwhelmed by force unless you go out of a balcony and hang on the ledge to hide from people until.
Gotcha.
But it's very difficult to play run and gun in Hitman. I think they designed it that way. Sadly,
it's not meant to be played run and gun. Like there's supposed to be some. You're a secret agent, right? Like you're a spy kind of guy.
Secret.
So you're supposed to have some kind of stealth. As you said, that they give you like an option, like various different like intended ways to finish a mission, but there's other ways that people discover whilst playing the game. Like this, it's not just you have to do it this way or you fail. This is the target. Do it how you want, basically.
They'll have you go through the level several times too to accomplish it the other ways, so that you can check those things off the list. So there's a lot of replay value.
So talking about state share a little bit more before we move on. Do we think so any devs are going to go back and add state share to games that we've already seen on Stadia, or is there a game that you're really, really hoping will have state share when it comes out on Stadia?
I have sort of an opinion on this one. I can't really think of a game that I wish would have state share. Maybe Super Hot would be a great addition to that, right? However, I do think a couple of things on state share. First of all, I think that someone mentioned in the comments, kind of like DualSense, it's very innovative, but how much will it truly be implemented?
Right.
The answer is probably not very much until it becomes a standard. Right. So after Nintendo brought out motion controls, everyone started doing it, but it took them a long time. Right. And while state share is revolutionary, I don't see many uses for it in its current state, especially at its previous state. Right. However, I think that as we go on, it'll stop being so much of a gimmick, and it'll start being something that it won't really take the world by storm like motion controls, but it'll become something that's understood to be part of the experience. And I think it'll gradually become such. I think that it's not going anywhere, right? It's certainly a staple of cloud gaming. It's one of those things that Google said that only cloud gaming can do. Right. And more of that. It's kind of like Stream Connect, right? It's just going to become something that people expect. I was playing Breakpoint, and I had the Stream Connect, and I was loving it. And then I started playing, I can't remember what it was. It was a FPS game on my PS4. I didn't have Stream Connect, and immediately I was like, I hate that I'm dead and I can't see what you're doing. It is so infuriating. So immediately, that is something that I would adopt as a standard in cloud gaming, and therefore regular gaming too. I think it's going to trickle backwards as well.
I guess it depends how much Google can convince the devs to implement it, though, right?
I don't think they're going to convince a lot of the devs who have already placed games on the store to go back and do that. I mean, we already see that. Aside from Bethesda and a few others, a lot of these developers just barely got their game on the platform, and they weren't really investing in the tools as deeply as they could understand them. And certainly Stadia has been the last platform that they decided to develop for, or in addition to those other platforms. However, it's an interesting thing, right? While I don't think that we'll see developers add it to games that are already on Stadia, they may very well bring older games to Stadia and then find a way to implement it. So kind of, right? And we have Thunderful cooking something up, and they have a lot of backlog as well. And I don't know, their games are kind of little party sort of games. They seem kind of fun. I can see them doing that. Yeah.
I think one of the best things they could do is get a game that's really challenging, right? And it just would be like a theme of the game with a built-in state share would be the challenge of challenges, right? Like for instance, I love Pac-Man, right? And I claim I'm the Pac genius and nobody could beat me, and it's true. So like have like a different type of game where like not that you get a score, right? Like for instance, Super Hot. Like how you play Super Hot and it's like so intense, like, oh my God, I almost beat this level, right? So like you literally just say, okay, I beat this level and I'm gonna start you in a certain spot in this level that was really hard. But make it like this is the challenge, and then see who can beat this challenge. And once they beat the challenge, and if they had like a harder predicament, then we capture their challenge. I know it sounds crazy, but it would be different, right? Like the challenge of challenges. I hope you guys are listening. But and it'd be for like the gamers. Like if you think you're good, like once you beat that person's challenge, that everybody has to beat your challenge, and every single time someone beat it, it'll get harder and harder. But it will be harder because of you were that good to get into a predicament that was so hard. So it just challenges the game itself and challenge the people who play it. I don't know.
That's almost like the it's dropping ghosts on the kart track in Mario Kart or wherever else, and then just every time you hit number 1 on the leaderboard, that becomes the new ghost.
Right.
And you have to beat that one, and you have to beat that one. It almost I could see that. Hi everybody, I'm back. I could almost see that as a great way to incentivize replay, because a leaderboard is fun. I like tons of games have leaderboards,
right.
But the leaderboard is always like, oh, somebody got to 1 hour and 49 minutes on that run, and can you do faster? And you're not replicating. Like, it would be awesome if you could pull up their YouTube video,
right.
watch their run, and say, I can literally do better than that. Let me jump into their run and do it better with the same loadout, the same, all that kind of stuff, because that would change it from just who has the best time this week on track 4.
And then imagine this, Avery, let's take a step further. Imagine a streamer is streaming to his audience, right? And he say, hey, listen, guys, it's going to be, a 15-minute stream, but I'm doing this for you guys to see if you could beat my run. And he streams his run and stop it and say, okay, now click on the link and beat my run. Like, that would be like, what? And everybody's trying to beat his run. And then some people could stream themselves trying to beat his run.
But think about this too. Like, it could go a lot further, right? Standard gaming, we're used to having time, speed, or whatever, right? Like,
right.
Very generic things that you sort of tag and then you track for leaderboards. But when you have slices like state share, I mean, you can itemize anything in the game. The weapons, the items, the exact location, right? And you can make all kinds of combinations that challenge could consist of. I mean, it's a little mind-blowing when you think about it. I mean, especially with the power of the cloud, right? How many, it's hard to give an example, right? Like, this person beat this level with this specific gun, right? It could go very, very highly specific, I think.
Right.
Not to mention how easy it would be then for developers to leverage that mechanism themselves. So instead of having to individually program and create 77,000 scenarios, they can say, hey, this week we pulled 10 of the best state share scenarios that we saw shared, and this one was they're only wearing purple armor, and this one is they maxed out speed but left everything else at 0, and this one they did that, and just reduplicate them into the game, put the link right back into the game, so that now they have an infinitely it's almost builds
like they're templating the experience. Is that what you mean? Like they're templating the entire thing?
Yeah, or even that, or just reinvesting. It's the Mario Makerdom of Stadia, where anybody can make a really cool course or a really cool whatever if they set themselves up in that way, and then let the game incentivize people to try those. In a sense, Crata sort of did that, where it's the games within a game. And so you take Crata plus what state share was supposed to be. Sorry, Crata, we love you, but it's just not state share. And put them together to say, here are the 10 community challenges from this week, curated by the team, based on challenges, state shares that community members themselves invented through the use of state share.
Here,
you could build that straight into the game as well, similar to how Trials Fusion. Obviously, you can make your own maps and your own levels and stuff, and then obviously there's a section where you can choose to play certain levels. There's highlighted ones, the ones that have been highest upvoted and stuff like that. So you could bake that almost into like the game itself into the menus and the UIs. But I think I mentioned it last week as well. One of the things that I'm excited to potentially see in a game, if devs choose to use it this way, is obviously we have some games that like are massive when it comes to storylines, like Cyberpunk and Elder Scrolls and stuff, and no two people's play sessions are going to be exactly the same. So unless I pick exactly the same choices in the game as what you do, I might miss potentially large portions or different endings or whatever. So state share would be a way for me to kind of jump out of my game for a second and experience what might have been had I chose that option, or had I have unlocked a weapon that I didn't unlock in my own game and have probably missed the chance to unless I go back and restart.
It's save slot swapping, but take it to a whole new level.
Yeah. Here's something too, Dan. You're familiar with Destiny, so just imagine you get a 6-on-6, right? But you say, hey, your 6 people are going to have to play our state share, being you're going to have to be like we played and beat so many people using a warlock, all the different classes and all the different weapons and armors. And so now when you 6 people play our state share, you have to use everything we did. And so maybe people say, okay, well, wow, I got to use that weapon, that this. Okay, then I'll choose to be the warlock, or I'll choose to be to this. But they have to play what you guys say and be like, okay, you guys got to beat us, but you got to play our
with our loadouts.
Yeah.
What about using state share? Sorry, I was going to say, what about using state share as a sort of save point system, like a save state system? Instead of, I know that PlayStation has the ability to let someone jump in and take over your game to help you.
Right.
Stadia could use save states or state share in that regard. Here's my state share. I'm stuck here. You play it. Send me a link back, and then I pick up from there and overwrite my game.
Oh yeah, that would be. Yeah.
And it even could solve the instant ready concept that people will be like, why can't Stadia just always restart your game instantly like the Switch does? Or I think they rolled it out with the new gens. So it's like, well, yeah, it's, if your state is this string of code, then you hit play on Assassin's Creed and it just goes boop, you're good. Last state, done. And no more loaded screens, no more all that stuff. It's instant refresh. I
think that will be implemented. I think that's one of the things, because I remember John Justice did an interview at the end of last year, basically saying how they're thinking of coming up with ways to make the experience even faster for consumers. And I have a feeling that's going to be some part of it where it literally saves the state that you were in the game. So when you join the game next, it loads you back up in that exact same spot. Done, boom.
There's part of it where we kind of asked this last week for our hot topic was, where does Stadia go from here? And I always listen to our show again because I like us well enough, more or less.
You just like to hear your own voice,
pretty much. And I heard myself say, I don't know what Stadia could have up its stream. Or up its sleeve, and then literally just now between Michael and Dom, it's occurred to me that okay, so they built Krata's version of State Share, which was pretty much click to play. Then they released click to play. They built Stream Connect, and they put that in Ghost Recon, and they put that in Orcs Must Die, and that's basically could be couch co-op. Like new ways to handle couch co-op, which we know is rumored. So they've built State Share, the real one, which could be how they implement cloud instant restores. And so it's almost very much the case that it could literally just they're layering on the technology on top of itself, and iterating with the technologies that they've already rolled out to just grow and grow and grow those technologies.
It's just really weird, right? Like Google's philosophy is basically that they are iterating on this, and normally they just go all out and throw it out there. My son's home, by the way. Generally, what they do is they're just like, "Hey, let's do this. Let's put this out there. It's half baked, and we'll fix it later, or we'll just move on, right?" But with State Share and with Stadia as a whole, they're iterating on stuff and then implementing it a little bit at a time, testing the waters, like you're saying. And I think they can't afford to fail with cloud gaming. They can't just, you know what I mean? It's such an untested concept that they're taking their time with it. And John Justice himself and the whole team, they've been kind of going against Google's philosophy to build their own, which is a lot more community friendly. It's pretty incredible. And I definitely think that, you're right in saying that this State Share will evolve. Like right now, you start at the beginning of a level. Didn't they advertise it as Start Anywhere? I mean, that's next, right?
But they said that that's down to the devs, though, right? That's what IO Interactive has said, that or they believe that obviously this is the best implementation for Hitman 3 and all the Hitman games. That's why I'm hopeful with the future games that come with State Share that we'll see the full implementation of this is the state of where I am right now. Take over, play.
And it's the same thing they said with Stream Connect. When they first announced Stream Connect, it was, and it's going to be the little picture-in-picture window, but we could also see people doing couch co-op, multiplayer on one screen, all that kind of stuff, just implementing the APIs that we're rolling out. So I definitely think the more the devs, what I want to see is people going, what'd be really interesting is if it could do this. And then do something crazy with these APIs. Do something crazy with State Share. Because I feel like the more, and I'll be perfectly honest, that's not gonna be EA. That's not gonna be Ubisoft. That's not gonna be Capcom. That's gonna be Death Carnival. That's gonna be Toho. That's going to be one of these developers, the Ember folks that has a game where they can take a big risk because it's not $100 million game.
Right.
But none of that's going to happen until Stadia themselves says to the Ember devs and the Death Carnival devs, hey, now you can jump into these tools. And we know that right now they're not getting those tools, at least not in production format as we speak.
I mean, Stadia's whole gig is that they're trying to be in discussion with the AAA developers first, let's be honest. And they're the last ones who want to do it, right? Because they have their established model and it's safe, it's
right.
low level. They probably are going to the smaller devs last. It's still within the same confines of time. I believe that they really believe in, smaller developers, but they're certainly not going to them first. So it seems a little backwards, the developers versus Google's vision. But yeah, you're right. I think we'll see the smaller developers implement it first. It's just a shame that the larger ones won't right away, especially not like Ubisoft. I don't know. I mean, a little bit here and there, right?
I was going to ask, do you think Stadia may be saving some features for their Stadia own cloud games? Like maybe there's some stuff they're like,
100%.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be crazy, like all of the presumably all of the AI things where you can have the AI handle some of the story and you can have it generate some of the worlds. Yeah. Presumably all of that is gonna be available to the rest of the industry because otherwise they wouldn't have talked about it at GDC. But those and Ubisoft, who also has to release that game on Xbox, PlayStation, PC, are not going to be the first to implement the dynamically generated Project Chimera animals and things in their game. But Google certainly will when they are the ones in-house. When Aaron Hoffman John says, it'd be really fun if when you click this button, it knows what you meant. Like that kind of stuff. I think Google's going to save a little bit of that for themselves, if only because it's easier for them to do it when it's not a third-party studio with third-party demands on their time and investors saying, no, we can't wait on you to figure out how to get the paint color on the wall to match the car outside through AI. It's just,
Well, it's not only that, right? It's that they need to save a secret sauce because whether or not they like it or agree that they're doing so, they are competing with Sony and Microsoft for major console players. I mean, if they don't have a secret sauce, they're not going to
just a hamburger.
Yeah, just have a hamburger. I mean, it's a great hamburger, but I believe that they do want to win people over because look at this. Sony with PS Now, when they bought Gaikai and OnLive and made PS Now, even though it's terrible, right? Let's be honest. They are going into, like, we might have a PS6. I don't know. But we're not going to have a PS7. I know that's super controversial. But everybody's going towards cloud gaming. It's just Google's there first. So they're going to be a major player, whether or not anyone else wants to believe that. They're going to be right up there with them. They already kind of are with Xbox and in what they're doing with Game Pass and what have you. But it's a shame to see Sony not really competing there, even though they had the tech first.
But we'll see if they come. I mean, eventually there will be a check or there will be a red number on a spreadsheet that some CFO will go, no, we're not doing that. Let's turn this around. And so speaking of things that only Stadia does, even though other people do this too, free play weekend, you guys. It's free play days.
Oh, yeah.
Our favorite time for you to try a game that you have not tried before, and this time around, it's 2 of them. It's our first time getting 2 free play days weekends. WWE 2K Battlegrounds, which we know that Anthony hates and is terrible at, and Ghost Recon Breakpoint, which I don't know if anybody's a big Ghost Recon fan on the panel, but we'll certainly ask and find out here in just a second. So free play days. Anthony, are you excited to finally have some other people playing this game with you this weekend?
What you gonna do? So listen, guys. A while ago, when it came out-
No. We're not just leaving that and moving on. What the heck was that? Macho Man Randy Savage?
Yeah, he makes me want
Who
to
was that
snap
supposed to-
him for real.
Oh yeah, it's about to get real.
Oh, gross.
Come on, brother! Like
So
Surrounded by men.
You are
Well,
literally
give us your rendition then.
For me, you're the
Scarlett,
Well, let me
you
say
need your best
this.
Macho Man Randy Savage.
guys, listen. Here's the cool thing. When the game first, listen, I'm a huge wrestling fan, all right? I know people like Dan is like, I used to watch wrestling too, but you stopped watching it, Dan. I never stopped watching it. I still watch it to this day. Matter of fact, my wife and I fell asleep last night watching wrestling. Now, with that being said, when the game, we did.
No, I'm gonna leave that one. Gonna leave it right there. Golden opportunity.
Anyway,
Scoot past it.
Move on, Avery.
all right, so when the game came out, I bought it. And then the day later, Avery was like, oh, we got a code. I was like, wow, really, Avery? So anyway, but I bought it. And I started this thing called All-Purpose Champ, WWE 2K Battlegrounds versus the world. And nobody could beat me. Well, guess what, guys? After this show at 7 p.m. Eastern, I'm bringing it back, and the game is free. So for all the people who, well, if I had the game, but the game's trash, I will beat you. Well, do it tonight. That's just like when Pac-Man was free. What I did, I hosted a Pac-Man Megatonal All-Purpose Champ battle, a tournament. And guess who won? Me. So all I'm saying is everybody who's watching at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern, see if you could beat me. And then also, yeah, Breakpoint is pretty cool, but I got Ubisoft Plus. Sorry, Dan, but I got Ubisoft Plus, so I've been playing that. So, yeah.
Scarlett, I know Breakpoint's on your playlist.
Well, before I move on to that, though, the only thing I know of wrestling is Bonesaw from Spider-Man. Bonesaw
And that was Macho Man. That was
There you
Macho Man.
So, believe it or not, I actually, Ghost Recon's always kind of been, on my radar. I think it's mostly just because we had it for, the PS2. My brother would play it. And so, it's kind of like a nostalgia thing. So, I might pop in there and see how many times I can die and how many times I don't die, which will probably be less than how many times I do die. But that'll be fun.
Mike, have you picked up either of these games prior? Or are you going to give them a shot this weekend?
Yeah, so I've actually played. I've played Breakpoint. I'm not okay. So last time I played wrestling was on my Super Nintendo, and I loved it. I know.
WrestleMania.
Yeah, and I used to watch a lot of wrestling too. Yes, I did stop. I know. Get the tomatoes ready, or other variety of fruits and vegetables. But yeah, Breakpoint's an interesting kind of game, right? Because I too came from Wildlands and spent countless hours in Wildlands, and it was colorful and bright and exciting. And when I opened up Breakpoint, I did not like it. So there's more to the story. So Breakpoint is very drab. You mentioned cars in Wildlands. There are barely any cars in
Barely
Breakpoint.
any. Yeah.
I'm like, what cars are you talking about? So there's a lot of repeated elements. I'm a game developer by night. I put on a cape and go do that. I noticed.
Can we see the cape?
I noticed these things, and it's a lot of repeating elements. A lot of the scenarios and camps you go into are identical. The color, it's just very drab and lifeless. The only time, and oh, by the way, it was extremely difficult single player, in my opinion. The enemies would just headshot you. And then when I started playing with a friend from work, from my last job, we stayed up all night playing it because it became a lot easier. So it really balanced out. And we kind of overlooked the whole look of the game in exchange for sort of the scenarios we got ourselves into and kind of creeping up to camps and taking people out. It was a lot of fun multiplayer. If you're going to play it for free play, you need to have somebody to play with you. Do not play this game alone.
Well, or the people who are playing by themselves. Remember, they added the immersive mode and they added custom mode. So if you're going to play it by yourself, for instance, Scarlett, Go to custom mode. You could literally make it where. So this game, when they first showed it, it looked cool because they had this new system where if you trip on a rock, you could sprain your ankle, and then your guy is going to be limping, right? So now they added a new mode where if you want to take that part out, and it, the game won't be hard because there's rocks everywhere for you to.
I'm sorry. Wait, you're saying that in the game, if you trip on a rock, you'll sprain. I understand.
Emerging right now.
I understand the value of immersion. Like, is it? Oh, let me pick up that document. Oh, I got a paper cut. Like,
you don't play for that kind of immersion. I love breaking my ankles in games.
Don't you?
So when they first showed that off, I was like, I don't know, man. Some people are gonna be like, I want to get into the battle, but like every time I get shot, I gotta hurry up and wrap my bandages. If I'm walking and there's no enemies, I could hurt myself. But thanks to the new system they added, you could literally if you want to play it like Destiny and have a gear score, you could do that. You could take off the gear score and make it seem.
Ghost mode?
Huh?
You mean ghost mode where they took off your UI and everything as well and took out the
you could well, it allows you, it's a custom mode, allows you to do whatever you want. So if you want to have this on but get rid of this, if you want to have that on but get rid of that, so you can actually literally make the game how you want. And here's the cool thing, you and I could be playing together and you could have it where you trip over a rock and hurt your ankle, and I don't. Like, they allow you to play however you want with people. It's pretty cool.
Can you imagine that? You're just in a squad and this one guy just keeps tripping over rocks. You're like, for God's sake, can you stop tripping over rocks?
Jerry, would you just...
That's
to be fair, somebody did mention in the chat that they added squads. In my experience was when the game first launched on Stadia, there were no squads.
Right.
I did try single player after that. You did remind me of that. I did give it another fair shot, and the squads did really help, because my favorite thing ever about Ghost Recon, since I played on the PS1, right, or PS2, I can't remember, both, I think. Oh my goodness, my favorite was
back when it was originally a first-person shooter.
It was I think I'm thinking of the right game. On PS1 they had a third-person.
Right.
You're thinking of Crash Bandicoot.
No, you could be thinking of SOCOM.
Maybe it was SOCOM, but on PS2 they definitely had the Ghost Recon game, and I love that. I love scoping in the dark and from the helicopter and everything. But the best part about it was squads, because it made it feel like you were playing online. And that was in the age where I didn't have internet connection on my PS2, right? I didn't have multi-tap and things like that. And it really kind of brought it to life, and made you feel like the world was a little bigger than what it really was. So having that AI squad, they're not always super smart, but it was better than playing by yourself. So I totally agree that the squad improved the game for single player.
Still better than Ignis and Prompto and Gladio, you think?
I jumped into
What? Thinking it out of my head
for the first time today, and there are so many options and menus and tutorials, and you just get completely overwhelmed. Like, I end up just skipping everything, but it forces you to do them because it stays in the middle of the screen. Press T for this tutorial, press L for this tutorial, and it's just like, I just want to play the game. But like as Andy said, you can play different modes, but you can change any time, and you can customize it completely how you want, which I think is quite cool. Like, I start off with the gear score, I might change it to immersive mode and try that, and you can just literally change every single option that you want.
Immersive mode changes it to be Death Stranding.
Yeah. Like, it looks cool, but as people have said, like, I think it's one of those games that is much better with friends. Especially when you have like Stream Connect and everything working.
And our dear friends at Ubisoft are all about giving you more opportunities to play with other people. You like that segue? Because they have got a lot of games on sale right now. In fact, practically everything on the Ubisoft catalog is on sale, and some of them are for big old discounts. Particularly focusing on deluxe editions, gold editions, all of that kind of stuff. Things like Assassin's Creed Origin deluxe edition, normally $70, now $13.99. English money or American English money. The Far Cry's are on sale. Ghost Recon Wildlands Ultimate, $89.99 today, $26.99.
But Avery, I thought on Stadia to pay for a sub and pay full price for games.
Yeah, Avery.
You know, not only that, but then you also have to subscribe to Netflix. If you're not subscribed to Netflix, you don't get the games.
Right,
I
yeah.
don't know if you guys knew that.
Yeah.
Not to mention, Red Dead's on sale. Red Dead's on sale, Reigns is on sale, Uno on sale, Valkyria Chronicles, Watch Dogs, West of Loathing, a few things that are actually previous and future pro games like Reigns. It's a great game, you guys. I played it on my phone 5 years ago. But some killer deals out there if you're not subscribed to Ubisoft Plus. So if you're subscribed to Ubisoft Plus, none of this matters because you have all these games in their gold edition anyways. Is anybody going to pick anything up off the sale this weekend?
I might end up getting the full version of Uno just because I'm so tired of not having it all.
I feel like I own Reigns on Google Play Pass, and since we cover a lot of Google Play game stuff too, I had an interesting thought. I'll just be real quick. Why is that game on Stadia, right? Are we seeing the very first bleed-throughs of Google Play games potentially being placed in the cloud and becoming a standard? I don't know. I might write about that. We'll see. But I wonder, right? Yeah.
Oh, well,
but I might pick it up on Stadia and play it. It'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I think Michael just said he's going to do that as a guest post on Stadia Source. Was that what I just heard? Great.
I might,
go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say I might have to get, since it's on sale, Red Dead. Again, Avery, you missed it, but people are saying I'm not a true cowboy because I don't have Red Dead. So, everybody's like, dude, Ray is like, man, he's not a cowboy. So, I got to, I'm going to have to saddle up soon. So,
yeah, I will say there are games that are on Android that we don't have on Stadia that are surprising, like Stardew Valley. There is no reason
on Stadia.
Like,
come on.
No, come on. If you can already play the game from everything, including your toaster, it should be on Stadia. Why Skyrim? And maybe we'll talk about games coming to Stadia in just a moment. Real bunch of other quick headlines. We're not going to go through them all because who cares about Pikuniku? But it's going to be coming on February 2nd. I'm sure it's going to be great. I'm also sure it's going to be pro in 3 months. So that's exactly what it is.
3 months.
Stadia. By the way, Stadia Pro Gaming says you're all hat and no cowboy. So,
quick thought.
Monster Jam.
Thought on that. Sorry.
No. Yeah.
I see a lot of games like Touhou and stuff. I watched last week's podcast to kind of get to know you guys a bit before I was creeping on you. But if you think about it, a lot of these indie games go pro, and sure, that's fine and all. But I mean, our expectation for them to go pro, or our assumption that they'll go pro, I don't know. It's a little disheartening. As an indie game developer myself, you know what I mean? I think maybe some of these games shouldn't go pro. Don't go to the Nintendo route and never go on sale. But I think maybe they have a lot more value than we attribute to them. And there's almost a stigma around the pro bin, right? That it's something that has lesser value just because it's an independent developer title. But I think we've been surprised plenty. So if you guys get pro games and they seem like they're not your cup of tea, try them anyway. I've been surprised plenty of times.
Well, and I think, and I definitely agree that I think some of that is that Stadia Pro currently doesn't have a lot of titles in it that rise to the level of like Game Pass Ultimate, where you can get Control and No Man's Sky and games that are very much top tier AAA games, but are also in the $50
No Man's Sky in that bucket. I'm just kidding.
not 3 years ago, but today maybe.
I guess though, Avery, though, like F1 2020 is probably the start of that, I'd say. And then also we're getting Ark, Journey to the Savage Planet, are both going to be pro games, amongst
now that
other,
it's out of beta.
other surprises.
Don't forget as well that like Stadia are obviously reimbursing the people who've made the games that go to pro. So just because they're on pro doesn't mean they're not obviously seeing some benefit to that.
But it's perception in the market. If we feel like, and it's almost a chicken and egg kind of situation. we look at the game is under $30, which probably means it's going to go pro, which means we're not going to spend the money for it. And because nobody is buying that game, Stadia says, well, the only thing to do is put it on pro so that people will actually play it. And so it becomes this self-feeding cycle of pro games become pro because nobody bought them, because nobody will buy them because they're going to go pro. And how do you break out of that? Like, how,
Avery, you keep saying that every week that a game is $30 is going to be on pro, so you got all these people watching. Well, Avery said it's going to be on pro, so I ain't buying it.
Look, is there anybody on this panel? Is there anybody on this panel that does not think the $2.99 Reigns is not going to go on pro?
That's a AAA quality game right there. What are you talking about?
Yes, that is a game that you can play with AAA batteries. That is a AAA quality.
It's really cool. If you never played Reigns,
I guess the way they break that, right, is just to release an absolute shed ton of games, so they can't put all of them on pro.
Well, you know what? I was surprised that Ari went pro because I had just bought it, and it's fantastic. It's very well done. Some of these surprised me.
Yeah, they're fantastic games on pro, and hopefully it's a discovery issue. But when you look at like Game Pass Ultimate releasing 15 or 20 games a month onto that platform. Granted, it's because they have Windows servers in the cloud and they can just hit go on it. But Stadia, it's a ramp up thing. But we'll talk about that.
Just a quick question.
Literally.
Will we know the pro games by next pod?
Probably yes, because the first is on a Monday, so they'll either come out on the Tuesday or Thursday thing. So we should know them by next podcast.
Any predictions?
Reigns.
And so
just Reigns.
Yeah. I'm looking at the Stadia store now, and I'm like, okay, what is? Scott Pilgrim is too new, but it'll be pro at some point.
I could see Journey to the Savage Planet being February, and then Ark being March.
Yeah.
I'm secretly hoping for Spiritfarer to go pro, just because I want the game really bad. If it doesn't go pro, I will buy it. But if it does go pro, I will be fine with that too.
Spiritfarer, as our good friend Lee happens to say. Let's there's DLC for Zombie Army 4. Outcaster's got an update. Check StadiaSource.com. It's your number one source for Stadia news and reviews. Or check out the newsfeed where you can hear those in the newsfeed. So you can check out all the headlines on StadiaSource.com. But guys and gal, the first rule about the hot topic is that you don't talk about the hot topic. The second rule is that it's time for the hot topic.
Woohoo! That's a good one.
Thanks, Paul from Dom.
I like that one.
No, it's not a good one.
That's a good one.
No, don't give him any compliments about them.
I will encourage him every day.
I like that one.
Since the first half of the podcast was itself a hot topic discussion, with a fantastic state share discussion, we do want to give ourselves an opportunity. However, we talked about fun, cool things that Stadia could be doing. Let's dive into the darker side of Stadia hot topics, and that would be, why are Stadia games still facing incredible delays getting to the platform? This topic suggested by our very own original Penguin Adam on Twitter, and so I will frame this in the context of, we did eventually get Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk was delayed with everybody else, but we eventually got it. We're gonna get Outriders, but not when it launches unless something changes there. So we keep seeing games that are coming soon to Stadia, but when everything else already came out. SpongeBob, a game that was rated and announced months before it launched on the platform. There was another one, Destroy All Humans, months before it was released on the platform. So what do we think is causing this, and what do we see coming down the road in terms of, how quickly does this get resolved? How quickly do people kind of figure this out? So Mike, we'll start with you. Give us your generalized thoughts on, yes, of course, COVID is responsible here. But what do you think the trajectory is for the studios getting a handle on Stadia release?
I think as everyone transitions to work from home, it's interesting, right? Because Google themselves have stated that they have no intentions, last I checked, of bringing anyone back into, the campus, like full time or whatever. That they'll remain work from home until, I don't remember, was it July or something like that? But I think that just like with the Chrome OS team, they still pushed out updates even though they were working from home and doing all these things. I think the Stadia team might also have the opportunity to do some of that. I definitely think development will continue to be slowed for a while, but I don't think that it's gonna. We're gonna adjust, right? We've already begun to, but it's kind of a weird conundrum because Google has decided to play it safe. So.
I think personally, I mean, there's 2 points to consider, at least for me anyway, is at what point do you have Google obviously busting out the checkbook and saying, hey, we want you to bring your game to our platform? And then at what point do you have the game developers coming to Google and say, we want our games on your platform? So at some point, there's going to have to be a sort of transition, because we know obviously that Google have paid money in the past. Obviously, they've paid studios to port games like Cyberpunk across to the platform as well. So at some point, it's going to get to the point where the developers want to develop for Stadia rather than being, coerced into it by way of checkbook.
I mean, they have 400 games total, including what's already been released, that should be out before the next couple of years. They clearly have a plan, right? And I think when people signed up on Stadia.dev, including myself, for a game that I'm developing, I didn't get in because I don't have any previously released titles. They're looking for people like that. I've looked at their requirements. And I think once they get through all of the cream of the crop, they'll start looking and saying, who else kind of applied here, and we didn't really respond to them, but let's look back and see if we can bring them in. But as you said, I think that Ubisoft and other larger companies, as they start to bring the games to Stadia and start to see success, certainly the numbers won't really be there for a couple of years, but it's going to become sort of a thing that's standard. Hey, like you said, there's a red box here. What do we do about that, right? So, I definitely think they're not having any shortage of developers to kind of tap. And also, I agree that they have a plan because they've already released a statement of how many games they feel confident about releasing over the next couple of years. They factored in COVID already, right? They certainly have, especially because it's upon us still.
So I think part of it has to do is Google being Google. They are able to curate who they pick when they have the opportunity to pick people, and I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, one of the things that I think finally got people to notice Stadia was that Cyberpunk was actually working on Stadia, and that's because Stadia was trying to do it right. And sure, that was a day and date, and it wasn't necessarily delayed, but the whole game was delayed. And I think Stadia, just being what it is, was able to allow that to work. And so I think Google being Google, even though Stadia is a branch of Google, it is still underneath Google, that they have the opportunity to kind of do it better, even if it means they have to do it later. And I'd rather have something delayed and done right than released on time and just done wrong.
So what do you guys think about like the fact that we still haven't got FIFA and Madden yet? We still haven't got the Football Manager 2021, and these are games which are like quite dependent on, they run alongside seasons in some cases, and we still haven't been getting like updates for NBA 2K21.
Maybe I'm just not a sports game person. I prefer to actually play my sports, but I mean, it's my understanding that these sports games are just kind of like, I don't know, remakes of the same thing, just with new people on the rosters. So, I mean, and I also don't know the whole demographic of like how many people actually play sports games versus, other titles. I know that there's a market for it. That's why they come out every year, but that's also part of the problem is they come out every year. It's not really a new thing. And in my opinion, it's not really worth spending a whole lot of time on.
Wow.
I think it was Duncan from Cloudy that said that basically when these games come out, they're almost going to be dead on arrival if they don't come out soon, because people just won't want to play this year's iteration of the game.
Why am I going to want to buy FIFA 21 when FIFA 22 comes out in 6 months?
Do you think there'll be a point?
The worst part is that you can't trade in your copy for 15 cents at GameStop.
I think everything you guys are saying is good, but I think it's a popularity thing. I think it's one of those things where Stadia is new, and why would a developer spend extra? Like, I'm sure it's not, you don't snap your fingers and make a Stadia version, right? So why would the developer spend extra time and extra manpower and extra money on the Stadia version if they feel they might not make as much money, or they might not make the game look as good, or it might not.
My understanding that Stadia is basically PC ports most of the time, like, because you're running it on a PC. So I mean, if it's already PC port, it shouldn't. And I say this as somebody who's totally unversed in all of this. It shouldn't be terribly difficult. I'm sure it would take a lot of time, but it wouldn't be difficult.
What I'm saying is, I feel like when we get things late, Stadia community, it's because the developers figure, you know what, we don't want to take our manpower and put it to work on the Stadia because Stadia is new. Let's be honest, we don't have that many players. So it's kind of like, why, if you have a certain amount of crew working on something, why would you stop? Why would you take some of the people away to work on something that, I guess we're the redheaded stepchild is like, we could get to them because what are they going to do anyway? They need games, so they're going to like it when they get it late anyway. We've
already seen them. We've already seen them outsource the work, with Q-Lock taking over Cyberpunk and things, and there's at least a couple more that are handling the ports. So it's not even.
Do we think that was Google's decision, or was that CD Projekt Red?
I hope that was CD Projekt Red, because that would be a smart move.
Yeah, I guess it depends on how much they want to. I mean, coming from a software dev background myself, sometimes you do outsource things. Sometimes you buy a plugin off the shelf instead of writing the plugin yourself because it's just easier to do so, and that frees you up to leverage the more platform specific knowledge you have. We're still at a point with a lot of these companies where what an EA knows is how to produce an Xbox game, or how to produce a PlayStation game, or how to produce a PC game. They don't institutionally know how to produce a Stadia game yet. Mm-hmm. What Ubisoft knows is how to put a game out on any dang platform you want, because clearly they were the very first one to do it. So there will never be an Ubisoft game we don't get day and date. It just does not exist at this point.
We will get Skyrim at some point.
Right, because you can play it on a pregnancy test. You can play it anywhere, basically.
That seems to be your standard for what games will be ported to Stadia. You said that last week about Doom.
It's Doom on a pregnancy test.
Maybe they have it on Google. They're just testing them out. You know what I mean?
You can play it on a Tamagotchi
to Stadia.
I saw someone playing Stadia on their smartwatch on Reddit.
Well, I mean, people are playing Pokemon. I think it's Pokemon Red or something on Twitter. So I mean, there's that too.
Profile picture updated.
Yeah, through the profile picture.
So if you can play it on your Tamagotchi, then that's the key.
There you go.
What's interesting? Bethesda said that it was a layer that they had to learn how to use, and that's it. You know what I mean? It didn't seem like it was that much, but they had already positioned themselves to adopt new technology like that. A lot of smaller developers is probably a little overwhelming to adopt the Stadia layer, right? But it's I think, just like was said, it's about a matter of popularity. I agree with that. Same thing we see with Google Play Games and Chromebooks. I've contacted several devs. I know a few people at Blizzard, and I was like, hey, is Hearthstone being optimized or this other game? Oh gosh, what was anyway, another popular card game I can't think of right now. And they're like, no, we don't have any reason to put that on Chromebooks. It works in tablet mode on your Google Play Games. Just use that. And I was like, yeah, but mouse and keyboard support. And we see the same thing with Stadia, right? They're just like, this is their last priority.
Yeah.
If it's a priority at all.
Right. And I think that'll change. I mean, the higher, at a certain point, the number of dollars that are involved in here just gets better and bigger and bigger and bigger. And when that happens, there's no question that a game that is going to come to all platforms is going to come to Xbox. There's no question that a game that's going to go to all platforms is going to go to PC, because you're just on deck there for the platforms that can handle it. Switch is the only one that really has that kind of in the air, because the Switch itself can't handle some of the games, even though there are some dang good ports on the Switch. They're still ports, and they usually get them a few months later. So Stadia, there's no reason, there's no technological reason that a game that runs on your Xbox won't run on Stadia. All it is time, energy, effort, money. What can you put in, and knowledge? What can you put into building it and making it happen is where all this hovers. And the more, I think it's going to get lower. All of the averages, all of the average time to deployments, all of the average delays are just going to get lower and lower and lower as those other factors start fluctuating, as the amount of money that, let's be perfectly honest, today, there's the Resident Evil showcase today. And they did not announce that the games are coming to Stadia. We all know the games are coming to Stadia because Stadia cut a $10 million check to make it happen.
Right.
So those checks, the more of those that, if Google is cutting that check for 2 games, Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 8, how much did they cut for Madden 2022? How much did they cut for Call of Duty that is probably going to come at some point? What kind of negotiations are happening right now with Tim Sweeney to get Fortnite on the platform? And Tim Sweeney keeps saying, all right, add one more zero. Cool, add one more zero. You know, like, how are those discussions going? The more of those that happen, the games will be coming. The question is, will Google want to do that? Or want to keep doing it? And I don't care what Dan has to say about it. I continue to not care what Dan has to say about it because he won't unmute.
Dan, you're muted.
I persist in not.
There we
Did I
go.
mute myself?
Finally.
I thought you muted me because it didn't come up until you. No, whatever. But as I was going to say,
Unmute yourself.
or whatever. I was going to say, Resident Evil technically is coming to Stadia in a way.
There, and I muted you
Oh,
again.
the Division 2.
Yeah, as a skin in the Division 2.
Which you've seen Stadia put a trailer out on their YouTube channel.
Yeah.
If you look at Tim Sweeney as well, I mean, he's already brought the Epic Game Store to Android. I mean, who does that? He didn't have to do that. I can totally see him being like, "Hey, Stadia is a thing that people are going to check out. Why not do it? Throw some money."
He said that, didn't he? Basically, that Stadia's not coming to Fortnite's not coming to Stadia at the moment because there isn't the player bus and is the player base, and they won't make the money. But that's kind of like once they do it, then players will start coming to Stadia because it's got Fortnite. So then it just snowballs, and then, do you know what I mean? Like if they put the game on there, it might be an initial hit for them, but then the money will start rolling in afterwards because players will come.
And all of that.
But if
All
you're
that was
a
done-
business, would you take that chance, right? So if I'm a business and I got a game that's doing well at other places, and I look over here and say, they don't have the player base, do I take the chance to put my game over there? And
I guess
if it's got the power of Google behind it.
I guess that's the chance is that against the check that Google give you without any zeros on it, right?
It's the power in the pocketbook. If for Epic, if they say, okay, cut us a check for $25 million, we'll bring the game on, they're not spending $25 million to port that game. They're not. I'm sure their developers are paid very, very well, but if you would basically be paying the full-time salary of 100 software developers making $250,000 a year. So it'll happen, but the question is, at that point, the worry that I would imagine some of these studios have is, what if Stadia goes under? And then what happens when we put all the work and energy and effort into developing for a platform that goes under? Or on the flip side, what if it lives but doesn't get bigger and better? And then we're on the hook to keep patching that game and keep patching it and developing for this thing where we're not making our money back anymore. Yeah. And those are the decisions that they're making behind the scenes. And every time they come to a no on that, Stadia adds another digit. And Tim Sweeney goes back to, oh, okay, you guys.
I think we can earn this back in skins and dances.
Yeah. And there's also the factor of, a lot of those discussions, a lot of the news that we heard from people like Tim Sweeney were before the public launch, or before the true free-to-play launch. So when free-to-play truly dropped in November with Destiny and Bomberman, right, you can see it in Jack to Slip. Everybody loves him. He's a great guy. He posts these Stadia stats updates, and you can just see, whoop, the numbers take a spike. Now, granted, they all settled back down again, but they settled down into a higher position. So the more Stadia grows, at a certain point, we just become unignorable in a sense. If Stadia is drawing the same number of daily active users that Xbox Live is, not going to happen anytime soon, but if it ever does, you can't not put the game on there. If they're drawing half the number of daily active users of an Xbox Live, you can't not bring the game to that platform. Is somebody going to develop for the Atari VCS before they develop for, or what's the television?
Started on that thing.
Bless Tommy Tallarico's heart, he's an insanity. As we're kind of wrapping up on this, it seems like the group consensus is just give it time. And I bet if we go back to our podcasts from June, July,
give it time.
August,
Give it time.
September, give it time. Where do we hit the point, or do we hit the point where the players just get fed up? And I will pre-answer my own question by saying, if that point was not the rollout of the Xbox the series and the PlayStation 5, 2 or 3 months after when you can actually get one because the stock is back up, if we don't see a drop-off because people are abandoning our platform for their platforms, I don't know that we're going to see it. Mostly Stadia doesn't even function that way.
I think Google's bet is that they want to build up to stealing next generation, right? They got a whole 7 years. I mean, they said they're investing at least 10 years in this gig, right? They're not going anywhere. I think they're playing the long game, and that PS6, if it exists, if it's PlayStation Now, cloud gaming service, and you can potentially get hardware. Obviously, we see the CD drive disappearing, right? We have a digital version now alongside the physical. The very next logical step for next generation is, digital and cloud, right? And I think that Google is just ahead of the game. Same thing with Xbox. I mean, they absolutely want to steal next generation. They're not concerned about it right now. They're just, playing their chips and taking their time.
Yeah.
Well, I give it time. Give it time. Wait and see.
I think I think it's the next generation of games, as in not next generation of consoles, but the next big generation of games. That's going to be the sort of where we stand, because we're still kind of getting in from half old gen, half new gen. A lot of these games have been in development for years. It's kind of the next set of games that really. Do you know what I mean?
I think what you're saying is that Google is changing the molecular structure of what gaming is and the technical aspects behind it. I mean, At some point, PS5, Xbox, the new Xbox, they're not going to be able to not implement these things and start integrating cloud features because it's competitive, it's attractive. Obviously, they're going to move out of the hardware space eventually because of that. But yeah,
it's when we see the only possible in the cloud games, when we have. I think some of the stuff was real-time physics and stuff. I don't know, at the moment, in simple things like GTA, if you're playing that with friends on a console or PC, you might have damage on your car, but your friend won't see that damage because it can't sync up yet, right? It's not, the game's just, the processing is not there. But is it in the cloud server, then literally little dents here, there, and everywhere, everyone will see them because it will be live for everyone. It's kind of little quality of life features like that will just set Stadia games apart from
persistent worlds and things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, PS2, how long did it take them to add moving mouths, right? It took them back to things like that. You can play retro games and really love them. I love retro games, but you can't go back and say that that's the standard anymore. Same thing when we got 32-bit graphics. Same thing when we got online and motion controls. You can't go back from those things. I think cloud is that very next jump. You can't go back from it once you have it with these innovative features, right?
And that's the future we have to look forward to. I think it's MM2K or Project Storm that always says we are playing the worst version of Stadia we will ever play today because it will only get better from here. And that is the case. So the answer to our question, sorry, Scarlett.
Nothing.
Oh. So the answer to the question is persists in just give it time. We're getting there.
Yeah.
Let's check. Let's pencil this. We'll check back in next January and see if we also think that Stadia needs more time to get things. So you too can join the hot topic. Let's give you the hot topic question for this week. Tell us, tweet at us at Stadia Source. What is the game that has been announced for Stadia that is not here yet, whether that's FIFA, Madden, etc., that you most want to see make it to the platform? Where the heck is it? Come on, buddy. Get the game out right now. Tweet us at Stadia Source to do that. Before we jump into all the fun bits at the end, don't forget that the Stadia Community Bash, hosted by our good friend, now your mama knows, Anthony, and the Stadia Stadia Community Bash community, kicks off next week. We are dropping a link in the chat right now. If you're on desktop, don't click on that because then you won't be able to see the rest of the show. And just wait. Give it a second. Would you?
Give it a second, guys.
And there are dozens of hours of content coming from all your favorite creators, including. Just give it time, guys. Give it time. Before you click the link.
It's
You started screaming at us.
yeah. Your microphone sometimes gets.
No, so sorry. I can't control. It's the auto. It's blame StreamYard. Okay, including appearances from some of your favorite Stadia Source creators, such as Anthony Scarlett, Blue Bobs, myself. Am I missing anybody else from Stadia Source? I'm looking at logos here. No, it does not look like I am. Okay, so check out all of us all week long. Next week starts Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're overseas, catch it the next day. Replays work, or just stay up late. You can totally stay up late. And the link that I dropped in the chat is where you can see the list of all of the folks who will be participating and subscribe to their channel. There's also a little subscribe button down below every single one of those logos. Just click it. I'm saying, come on, guys, click the button. We want you to do that. So check out that. It's going to be super fun. Super fun next week. Mike, thank you so much for being on the show today. It was so great to have you. We love the insight that you provided. If people want to find you on the interwebs, let me know. Actually, don't let me know. Let them know. If people want to find you on the interwebs, let them know. And then also give them a reminder about that super fun special activity that's happening tonight.
Cool. Sure. Absolutely. I was like, that's not tonight. Oh, yeah, it is. So you can find me at Michael Perrigo on Twitter. You should definitely check out Chrome Unboxed at Chrome Unboxed across all socials. We post, Chromebook reviews, news, giveaways, deals, anything and everything, right? And since Gaming Unboxed became part of Chrome Unboxed and it got absorbed, we now have a gaming tab. So that's where I post all of my Stadia news and such like that. We try to give you the core pieces, but we believe that Chromebooks are a great place to play, and we're giving away the Stadia Premier Edition bundle. So. ChromeUnbox.com/Stadia Source. There is no hyphen in there, by the way. If anyone got a broken link, that's why. I think they put the hyphen in there, but there's no hyphen. And just enter to win. You got 15 days to do so. There's already a lot of entries. And I'm looking forward to giving away. It's still cellophane wrapped. It's brand spanking new. And I just had no extra use for it. I got one for my son. I got my Founders Edition over there. I got an extra one right here because I wanted the white controller. It's just... I wanted to drive sort of interaction. So it'd be fantastic to see you all again and to have you. So,
well, thank you very much for doing that as well, Michael. That's incredibly kind of you.
So if any of you did not don't got that Premiere, or you got another TV, every TV in your house use a Chromecast. I'm just saying. So with a Stadia controller in front of it. So of course, head over to Chrome Unboxed and just subscribe to them anyways. Drop them in your RSS feeder. I check out their articles all the time. I'm a Google nerd, so you're all Google nerd. You realize that, right? You're all Google nerds. You're on like a Google gaming platform, whether you agree to it or not. You're just like Lloyd says. You're a
yes, you will be assimilated.
so
resistance is futile.
Exactly.
Yes.
Go check out Chrome Unboxed. And big thank you to Ruben Diggling, one of my arch nemesis in Outcasters, for becoming a member of the channel. We appreciate you jumping in and doing that at the
upgraded
platinum level. Oh, upgraded to platinum. Thank you for that. We always love seeing those. So big thank you for that. That just leaves me to say, check out the Stream Team Dream Team playing all week long here on the Source Feed Live, including Twin Cities Community Playground, Scarlet's Ready Gamer 1, All Purpose Champs Power Up Plus, featuring the take all comers WWE Mania tonight. here in just a few minutes. F-Tendo's Dad Time Gaming and Brews and Bruises, Stadia Domination, and Dawn by Daylight with Mr. Dom over there in the corner. The Hotspot with EJ Mix, Blue Bob's Break Even Point, and in place of my community playground here in just about a week and a half, the Stadia Game Show. Keep an eye out on Twitter for how you, the viewer at home, not the creator friends that we have, but you, the normal old person at home, can be a part of the Stadia Game Show. That is information is coming soon. If you've been watching us here live, we love you. We're so thankful that you've been a part of the chat, and we appreciate all of you hanging out with us as well. We also want to say a big thank you to all of those folks. I actually have the link up, you guys.
Woo-hoo!
4 weeks. All of these folks that support us here in the Crystal tier, the Platinum tier, the Gold tier, the Silver tier, the Bronze tier, and of course, hey, we had yet one more person buy us a coffee. I love it to see people buying us a coffee. That's hilarious. So we appreciate all of you. Oh, I even noticed the little the name and the thing. That's adorable, Dan. Look at you.
I don't create those images.
Oh, okay. Well, as well as our past patrons, and you can join that list of folks by hitting the Buy Us a Coffee link or the join link down below, which you'll hear me say in just a moment. That just leads me to say goodnight to our illustrious panel here on the round table. Dan, thank you for being on your show tonight.
Thank you for having me on my show tonight.
Dom, good to see you as always.
It's been a pleasure.
Scarlett, always happy to have you as well.
Good night, my beautiful friends.
And Anthony, we know, because now your mama knows, that you're going to go play some WWE.
Yes, sir. I'll see you guys in the ring.
That just leads me to say, if you're listening to the podcast, you can join us live most Thursday evenings right here on YouTube. And if you're watching us on YouTube, you can download our podcast on Spotify, Pocket Casts, or everywhere you happen to get podcasts. You can follow us on Twitter at StadiaSource, like us on Facebook, share your state with me, and join our Discord at StadiaSource.com/Discord. You can even wear StadiaSource merch when you're out and about by going to StadiaSource.com/merch. The music at the top of the show is Somewhere in the Neighborhood by Bad Snacks. You can check out her music at badsnacks.bandcamp.com. Hosting for StadiaSource.com generously provided by Rock. Check out the technical expertise of Rock at rokk.co.uk. If you haven't already, down below is a thumbs up button that lets us know you like the show, and right next to it is a subscribe button that lets you know every time we post a new video. You can also become a member of the Stadia Source channel by clicking the join button down below with great perks for every level of your budget. Thank you so much for joining us for the Stadia Source Roundtable podcast. For Stadia Source, your number one source for Stadia news and reviews. My name is Avery, and have a good one.
Goodbye.